Good morning, this is Justin back with an engineer's perspective. Today we're going to be putting a crisp a la crisp edge on this Meglio Magnacut 8-inch Gyuto. Target hardness on this one is like 61 Rockwell. And just a reminder to anybody who's been living under rock, Magnacut's kind of deal is the chemistry was done so that the chromium doesn't combine with the carbon in here to form chromium carbides. Instead, it just combines with vanadium. So there's about 8 volume% vanadium carbide in here. And that leaves the chromium, because it's not combining with the carbon, to be free in the matrix to actually contribute to corrosion resistance, making a steel that's very, very corrosion resistant. And vanadium carbides are very efficient at both being tough, helping the steel be tough while they exist there, and also have a long-lasting edge. They're one of the most efficient ways to do that. Very smart way to go about it from Dr. Laren Thomas. Consequence of that I've found is with 8% vanadium carbide, you 100% can sharpen this on Japanese Waterstones that are alumina based. So think like your Naniwa Choseras, your Shapton Pros, Shapton Glass, Suhiro Debatos, all of those. Those are going to sharpen this, but it's not going to be like the same experience as you're probably used to. The stone, it will cut, but it's not going to engage and give you quite the same feedback that you might like. And so I prefer sharpening Magnacut on diamond abrasives. So here I've got 2 BBB super vitrified diamond Waterstones. I've got the 400 and the 3K, and then we'll finish 1 micron diamond on a strop. And that's just, for me, definitely the way to go. On my non-knives like this, I actually do tend to prefer kitchen knives sharpened on Japanese Waterstones. It's just a more enjoyable experience. All that said, wrap it up. Even on other steels, you will see a slight performance boost using diamond abrasives. So even on your Wustovs or your Takamuras or whatever, the diamond edge is just going to be longer lasting. Just because super abrasives like diamond and CBN do a better job leaving the least amount of fatigued steel at the edge. So I'm just going to cut that edge off on the 400. Excuse me. This thing rides about like 14 degrees per side, in that ballpark. We're just gonna keep it there. Oh yeah, a viewer asked me about talking about my technique here. You know, this technique is just from watching a lot of the, really good sharpeners out there. Definitely more of a Japanese style, but really do it ambidextrously, so you use both hands. But the hand holding the knife is I'll use my thumb on the heel to lock it in and my finger pointer on the top. And so I've got it locked into this hand. It won't rotate. And then you lock your wrist. If you ever watch shooting stuff, Gary Michalek is a freaking beast and he's awesome. But people ask him, well, how do you keep the gun from recoiling so hard? And his answer is, don't let it recoil. You actively decide not to let it recoil. So you actively decide to lock that wrist and don't let it move. This high angle I'm putting it at, when your plane of the blade is perpendicular to the stone, it can rock up and down. But when you put it at an angle, it kind of eliminates that plane of rocking, and so you get more consistent. So really lock it into your hand, lock the wrist, very intentionally lock the wrist, and then this hand isn't applying pressure, okay? And so you find your angle, and then your off hand is applying pressure right at the edge, not at the top. You want down at the edge. You're not going to cut your fingers, trust me, because if you put it at the top, you're putting pressure, causing it to rock down at the edge. Yeah, then you just work a section, work a section, work a section, Work a section, work a section. And that's probably quite a bit of overkill. Right there. All right, to the other side. A nice thing about the G10 handle on this, I mean, micarta handle, same. Well, it depends actually on the finish. But you don't have to worry about it getting dirty and all slurried up when you're sharpening. Yeah, you can feel this 400 just gripping into this thing like the beast it is. Feels like it might have accidentally got a little high of an angle there. Just checking out my bevel consistency. All right, so we're good on the 400. I'm gonna go wash up. I'll be right back. 3K super vitrified. Get her nice and moist. Same angle. I've created a pretty big burr with that 400, and so we're really just going to focus on light pressure here, which still means very good angle control, holding the knife, but I'm not even, my nails aren't even changing color, the amount of pressure I'm pushing down. So I've got no burr on the back side. I can barely feel it on the front side. Perfect. In my mind, ideally you'd switch hands the least number of times, because every time you do it, you're kind of giving yourself a really solid chance to screw up. That said, I just switched hands right now, probably earlier than I wanted to, so I think we'll probably end up going back to the right side just to spend a little bit more time polishing out those 400 grit scratches. Completely burr free on the back side, very minimal burr on the front. Let's just take a little look-see at the actual bevel. Looks all right, not super shiny or anything like that, but you wouldn't expect it to be from that big grit jump in minimal time. So I'm just going back to this side just to polish this one out a teeny bit more, is all. Very light pressure. Right now, less than the weight of the knife. Okay, burr is flipped. It's a little, I gotta let it get a little bit bigger than I probably would prefer on this side, but that looks much better. In terms of the actual finish on that edge being cleaned up, some of those 400 grit scratches. Okay. And so I'm gonna make an admission here, and it's partly why I haven't actually made many videos around this 3000 grit super vitrified. Is one, I just haven't been doing as much sharpening as I used to do. I'm just kind of evening out my finish right now. It's not something I do as much as I used to, but no, the reason why is because I actually have a little bit of a hard time deburring on this 3K. Yeah, true story. Just making sure my angle is good. You can hear it clicking with the burr there. But yeah, I have a little bit of a hard time deburring on it. I don't know if that's a feel and feedback issue or if it has to do more with the fact that it's a pretty fast cutting stone and it might have a tendency to generate burr more than it has to like reduce burr. And so just as an example, the Sharpening glass 8K just loves to reduce burr. It'll reduce burr more than it'll generate. And so it's really easy to deburr on a super high grit stone like that. No surprise. But this one isn't quite the same. And so now I'm just kind of starting to start going into edge leading strokes to really cut that burr down. And just being very diligent. This right here is the money maker. This is the time when you need to stay focused. No, this doesn't feel like I'm quite hitting it. Because if you go too high of an angle, you'll micro bevel it, and it's going to be hard to get a clean edge because you're always going to be trying to hit the main bevel like you think it should, but it's going to be kind of tucked under the micro bevel, the burr. And so you really work backwards when you get into that scenario. And not where I want it to be yet, that's for sure. And I've had this knife deburr so cleanly. It's the best from a sharpener's perspective. It's some of the best heat treated stainless steel I've got is right here. And so I'm not expecting to have to work too hard, but with this stone, yeah, it's still there. Oh, what a battle. It shouldn't be this hard, so I'm sorry I'm just making you guys watch this. Now I'm just throwing in moves just because. I mean, it's definitely getting reduced, just not quite as much as I'd like. I mean, it's pretty good. I've had really good luck with this knife and having the strop clean up that burr, so we're gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna wash up. All right, so what am I looking for when I'm moving on to the strop? Is, have I formed that apex well enough where I'll start grabbing my fingernail right off the stone? Aggression-wise, does it feel like it's gone from, I've got a lot of burr and reduced down to, like it's not that burr aggression, but like actual aggression? And the last would be if you draw your finger through here, it'll kind of get like pulled and like caught on burr, whereas it'll be smoother where there is none. Truth be told, this is not deburred enough where I would normally move on to the strop, but I'm gonna just see if this strop is gonna be able to take care of this, just it being this knife, and we'll see if we have to do any extra steps here. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but that 3K and I love the finish that it gives, but and the speed of it. I just have a really hard time deburring on it. I don't know what it is. So far, what my ears and my hands are telling me is this is not going to be adequate. But we shall see. Okay, so look at your fingernail. You bet your buns. Ooh, okay. We might be somewhere. And then this test. Okay, you know what? It feels pretty darn clean actually most of the way through. So yeah, this cleans up really nice. I usually like to do like 3 per side as kind of my unofficial max. It's like past that, it's like, well, you probably should have, if you can't clean up a bevel in 3 passes, it's like you should have set yourself up better in your main sharpening. It's kind of my feeling, unless you're trying to do something different, you know. Anyways, we've got a super like fine sticky edge here that loves to grab. Pretty clean, but not perfectly clean. I'm just gonna give it one more here, just because. Yeah, like this won't pass the paper towel test either. Let me go grab one. You know, like, it's weak. But you know, it'll shave the crap out of your hairs. You know, you can see it getting caught up on the hairs. It might even whittle them. But anyways, so super sharp. Gonna throw it in the block. A little bit of an underwhelming sharpening, and I hate to say it, but I do kind of blame it on the 3K stone. I'm still working with it to figure it out, but if you guys have had a similar experience or have any recommendations around the 3K, let me know. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, with that, she's ready to go. And that's all I've got for today. Have a good one. Bye.